You are quite
Yes.
pixelated,
Yes.
which is funny.
Oh, it's funny. I see myself fine.
Okay, well, we'll
I
continue
see
and see
myself.
what
Okay.
see what happens.
Yeah. Yes, it's really it's good that you've said to press record, because I know I kind of saw the experience, and I would love to hear from you, more personally what happened, how it occurred for you, this whole post that went a bit crazy.
Mm.
And this week I also had quite a strong reaction from somebody for standing up for horses. And it made me realize, how difficult it is to stand up for horses, how
It
resilient we
really,
need to be.
really is.
If you don't want to fall out with your peers, if you don't want to be the one that people don't like, it is not easy to just stand up and then stand your ground. But please
I was,
tell us
yeah,
what occurred for you. Tell us about it.
I was really surprised how quickly the conversation turned from, or stopped being about the horse. The post was about what is the horse experiencing in this moment. And I
Mm,
freely and I was very clear that this was just a moment in time. It wasn't the whole video, it was just at the moment in time. But I was surprised how quickly it became more about it turned away from the horse and became about defending and or attacking people. And that shift really, really fascinated me, because it was a reaction, an immediate reaction rather than the response. And, you and I always work towards responding to and having a dialogue with a horse that responds back. And we
mhm.
try and eliminate as much as possible the reaction. And when we're human beings, so reaction is part of our psyche, right? Our DNA, and it is the horses. But if you get into that reaction conversation, it's going nowhere apart from escalating. And responding is a much safer place to be in terms if you want a detailed conversation. And
Mhm.
I realized in that moment how difficult it must be for our horses to
Oh,
navigate
wow.
the human reaction,
Oh, wow.
because they weren't responding to the post, they were reacting to how they felt about it, to what they saw in it, not the actual detail of the question I was asking. This is, and can you imagine that's what that our horses have to
Tell me a
navigate?
little bit more. Can you turn it into horse human for me, to make it a bit clearer? So if we were to, I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, and to transpolate it, or whatever the word is, transpond it, whatever, to horse human. So if it were horse human, the human has asked the question, the horse has, no, has a response, and then you as a human would start escalating. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
And
what
the horse said, and the horse just thinks, "What did I say to?" Tell me
yeah,
more.
well, it became, I think it became more of like I was the horse in that situation, if you
Okay,
like.
exactly. Okay, so
And
you were the horse.
I
Mm-hmm.
was offering a response to something,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a reaction from humans, which was seeking from me a reaction. Now, as a human being that's quite balanced and quite connected to myself, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I answered
Mm-hmm.
a few questions best I could, and then I stopped feeding. I stopped giving oxygen to the fire. I just stopped. I just stopped answering.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even the positive ones, because the
It
algorithm
really,
doesn't
it
know.
got out of hand. It got out of hand. Yeah.
On a hand, and I'm not there for that. But
Yeah.
it made me realize
Mhm.
how difficult it must be for our horses to navigate the human reaction, because it was almost it was decided what I meant without being curious to understand what I actually had written to mean. So yeah, it was it's the assumptions. So the assumption that, and the prediction of, and all of those, very human, very normal in our society, in our domestic, in our world at the moment, that they're looking for the negative. It's easier to attach to the negative. And yes, I fully admit the post was provocative. The images were provocative, but They were provocative because they existed, and I saw them and I got a gut reaction. And I was curious about what the horse was feeling in that moment. That's all I need. That's all my question was. What is this horse experiencing in this moment that was labeled as an amazing day at the beach? Was it for the horse? And I came to the conclusion, not just from those images, not just on those 4 seconds, but the whole video. And yes, there was some lovely other parts of the video that were okay. But even so, it was all about the human. It wasn't asking, are you, as the horse, experiencing today as I am experiencing it? They weren't curious enough for that.
And then, as I usually say to you in these cases, we all have those photographs on our camera of not so soft moments, but it's then choosing that one to share the moment. Then
Yeah.
do you not see that? Do you not see that in this moment something went wrong, whatever it was, it happens. I know you're not being horrible to your horse, you're not abusing it, but why choose this photograph, somebody going like this or whatever, to illustrate your happy moment?
It was, to be perfectly honest with you, if the thumbnail, if the still image, it came across my feed, okay? And the image, the first still was the still that I shared, which was that. If it hadn't have been, if it had been a horse pouring water I wouldn't have probably not even watched the video. I watched it because I thought to myself, wow, I want to be, I'm curious to understand what this horse is feeling in that moment. And I think many people turned it to, instead of what is the horse experiencing, was the rider a good person? That's a completely different question. Not the question I asked.
Yeah, no, we can't help but feel judged sometimes.
No, and we do connect. We naturally identify with the human because we can, we are human. And I think that's where you and I spend a lot of time educating ourselves and being curious, is to try and put ourselves in the moment of how the horse will experience this activity, this moment, this life that they're sharing with us. And I think we both do those exercises with humans to try that.
And tell me a little bit more about how it felt as a horse to be so misunderstood and punished.
Completely unseen, completely unheard, completely misunderstood. Now, I'm a big girl, and like I say,
you were fine as a human, but I mean, because you did this amazing,
but yes,
because
putting
you did
myself in the horse's position. What do you do? Well, in fact, let's think about that. I felt misunderstood, and that the conversation was no longer centered around the horse. So what did I do? I shut down. I stopped responding. I chose not to react because that's not in my, I know what would have occurred. And so I chose to silence myself in that moment because I had nothing to defend. I said what I needed to say and I stand by it. Could I have reframed the post a little bit better because communication matters? Possibly, maybe. But
but going back to you comparing yourself to what it must be for a horse to be so misunderstood. I love, they too would shut down, or some horses would choose to react more and more and more until somebody gets hurt.
Exactly. It was a very interesting, it was a very interesting, and one of the things, part of my fundamental things is about noticing, it's about observing, and the desire to react was so so deep in some people that I was misnationalized. Why is an American commenting on this post? Well, so they had done no, they weren't curious enough. And I'm thinking, okay, if you're not curious enough or wish to go deeper and find out before you react what you're actually reacting to, and therefore it would become a response, how is that relationship with your horse or with horses in general when you take that energy to them? It is, they're not willing to slow down enough. And I'm not pointing things at anybody. This is a very human thing. And
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. I have to plug myself in.
Okay.
Sorry. I just came back. Yeah, that is that reaction thing. But I love that. I hadn't thought of it from that point of view at all. I was just, how was it for you as Rachel? But when you say it is, you can almost experience in your own hooves, so to speak, what it must be like, and they don't have the rational capacity like you have to well, it's them and they're not curious. The horse isn't thinking, just going, what the hell? Why are you talking? I thought I was doing what I was supposed to be doing or whatever. And then there's all this reaction and bigness. And yeah, I think that's a very, very useful analogy.
I think
Yes.
it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about the human psyche in that situation, for myself and others. Yeah, it was.
And I'm sorry you were the recipient of that, because it's not nice when you suddenly get. So for me, it's the being misunderstood. Is like, and I try to explain it to myself as when we react like that, we're reacting to. It's just showing what's inside us.
Yes, and
It's some, yeah. Mhm.
No, I think one of the difficulties for me was particularly when I stopped responding to anybody at all, and it was just happening. It's like at the beginning, it was much more about the horse and me, and obviously my network were responding because that's who would see it first. And then it just sort of got away from me, and it became more about the human being in the incident. Okay, and then it got away from everybody, and I didn't own it anymore. This was the social media's post now. It wasn't. They were all talking amongst themselves, which is fine. And I think as I was observing that, it made me realize that to truly stand up for your horses can be a lonely place. I'm up for it. I'm up for it every day of the week. Fine. But some of the dismissive comments, I wonder how much of those are self-preservation as opposed to anything about me. It's not about me. They're not attacking me per se.
No, they're defending what they already believe is true.
Yeah.
They're defending, and you're rattling cages, and that is one of the difficult part of the self-appointed job we have.
Exactly.
Because the only way to bring around change is to rattle that cage a little bit and then duck. You just have to duck.
Yeah.
and I almost now celebrate. I mean, it's not nice when they get personal, because sometimes they do get personal and under the belt and nasty and hurtful. But I try to squeeze a smile out, and I said, rattle that one, rattle that one, rattle that one.
I don't feel any of them. I didn't. There was nothing. There was no personal attack as me as an individual. Like anything that was off left field. Yes, I was an idiot, or I don't know. Tell me you've never ridden a horse. You don't, whatever. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I did remove 2 people for being very aggressive to somebody else. And I thought, well, I have a responsibility to ensure that my community is safe. So
yeah, and sorry, where was this happening? Was this on your Rachel Windchaser
yeah,
Rewild
on
Your
my
Horse Spirit
page.
page?
Yeah, on my
Mhm.
page. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. And like I say, when you look
And
at it through a horse's perspective, it makes it even more interesting.
yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought of that. I find that fascinating, and I will ponder on that. And I will ponder my mini experience compared to you this week as well.
So what happened?
No, it was minuscule compared to what happened to you, but I organized something for the liveries here, and it was a sunset hack, and I set parameters who could join and who couldn't join. And my parameter was that because it's been warm and a lot of people haven't been riding the horses for a while, so on. I said, for you to come with your horse, your horse needs to be in semi-regular work so that they're fit for what we're going to ask them to do.
Yeah.
I know, as I was told, who are you? Who do you think you are telling me what I can do with my horse or not? And I said, nobody. You can do whatever you want with your horse. But it was my hack, so I set the rules. It was my party, and I asked you to
Yeah.
come dressed in white, so don't come dressed in yellow, okay? So, because it's my party, I'm inviting you all out for a hack, and there was a particular combination, that asked could they come along, and I just said that privately. Of course, I said I would love you to come along, or I said yes, of course, but are you sure that your horse is ready to carry you around? And it was my choice of words that then was interpreted as I was saying, you're too heavy for your horse. And it created such a huge reaction from that person, which then in turn, me being the horse, I lost the plot. I was the horse that just took off 100 miles an hour, totally dysregulated, bucking and rearing and winning and pulling and crashing through fences, and which scared me. Yeah, and I need to go away, and that's why I said I need to go and think about that. What was it? What was the horse in me feeling that I had to react so strongly to being called mean and unkind, and everybody knows you're difficult. That's what I was told. And so, yeah, and then I said, yeah, maybe I'm difficult because I stand up for horses. I'll own that. I'll own that. But I just felt it was such an unfair comment, and it was a personal thing, and in person, not some. It doesn't take it away, but it wasn't a stranger on the keyboards. It was
No,
somebody
but
that.
I was going to say that's a big difference, because
Yeah.
one thing is to say to yourself, which is absolutely true. For me, it was a little bit like saying today's newspapers, tomorrow's chip paper, and it's the next day's rubbish. So and it literally did take like 3 days for now being in the bin, even though there's 1 or 2 still, you know. But it's easy to do that because it's at a distance, where when it is in person, then it's much more threatening, I think.
Yeah, it was, and all I had, I didn't ride my horse. I organized it because I knew we needed to go out in a group, and the horses need the support of the horses, and so I organized. I just thought I'd organize the liveries, and I put out a post on our little group, and I knew my horse wasn't fit for me to ride him because I haven't done anything with him for weeks and weeks and weeks. I didn't think it was fair. So I said, you can join walking in hand. I went in hand, another lady went in hand. But this person, when I said, are you sure your horse is fit enough for her to carry you around? It was my choice of words. As you say, communication is important, but I really didn't see anything in those words. It's like, I'm not saying you're too big or fat or whatever, overweight to ride your horse. I'm saying your horse isn't, I don't think your horse is fit enough to carry you because you've ridden it once in the past 7 months. And we would like to go for an hour and a half walk. And but the end line is it is hard to stand up for horses. It would be much easier to say, well, it's your horse, do whatever you want.
Mm-mm.
And I say, yes, it's your horse. It's your horse. Do whatever you want, but not on my patch.
Exactly. Exactly. Your house,
Yeah.
your rules.
Yeah, my party, my rules. The same way as I went to a show jumping competition and I didn't like it, and I have to say, their party, their rules. I don't need to go again.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it wasn't about the place or the people. It was just I didn't like the rules of that party.
Mm-mm.
End of. Nothing personal.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
guess,
yeah, mm,
well, I guess for
yes, what?
me, it's would I do it again? Absolutely. Would I possibly choose
Yeah.
some different words within there? Yes, because you learn and you grow and you develop as you go along. But fundamentally, yeah, I'd do it again tomorrow.
Mhm. I thought of you and of your post that night. The book I'm reading right now is called Don't Believe Everything You Think. It's a really good book. Don't believe everything you think, or don't believe everything your mind tells you.
Mm-mm.
And I don't read it from cover to cover. It doesn't work for my brain. I just, let me read here. And I open this page. And I have to find it and send it to you because it was so appropriate. I said, I'll forget by tomorrow morning, but I'll find it again. I know where you are. But it was about, for it to be true, for it to be true and that we can say it in a way that is true, a universal truth has to be true for everybody. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
it's an opinion,
Mm.
right? So, for example, um, the sky is blue. That is such an easy truth to hold because unless you're colorblind, but then somebody will have explained to you when you see red, actually that's called blue or however that works. I have no idea how that works, but it's an easy truth to hold. But when
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about horses and like this, there are so many truths that aren't even known.
Yeah.
What we were talking about the other day is like the horse's biggest problem is that we don't realize they have a problem.
Mm.
And that's and that's why these discussions come up, because if everybody could hold that truth that an open mouth is a sore mouth, or that a tented eye is and we need to see it, we need to understand it, we need to hold that as a truth, and then more of these things will be easier to say and stand up for,
I
and there'll
think
be
it also
more people
goes back
behind it.
to what we were talking about the other day is we put ourselves into situations which are uncomfortable because you never know if you plant one seed or
Mhm,
help somebody to grow or understand or ask or just be curious. The
mhm,
curiosity for me, curiosity for me in horses is another
mhm,
thread that comes through. But for human beings as well, if I can just plant one seed in the
mhm.
however many are at an event that it maybe is a bit uncomfortable for me, or in this case, a post that got away from me, which is fine, then that's okay. That's okay. Because if we don't, you're never going to change anybody's mind if you're not in the room.
Yeah. So we go and we do it again.
And again and
I'm
again.
so proud of you. Proud
Thank
of
you.
you, proud of us.
Yeah.
And don't ever change. Don't ever change one little gnats.
No, nor you.
No. So in a nutshell, you know me and my nutshells,
Yeah.
we need to be brave and stand up for our horses. That's what we're here for. If there's any sentence in what we've shared with you today that just kind of makes you ruffle a little bit or wriggles your heart, hold on to it and go out there and stand up for a horse. Go stand up for one horse. You don't need to go and change the world.
Yeah.
In the meantime, please do subscribe so you're the first to find out when we have another bigger conversation. Until then, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.